Hi and welcome, my name is Laura Brouwer and I would like to welcome you to my weekly video violin lesson titled Violin Lounge TV. In this episode I'm going to talk about 5 common mistakes people make in vibrato, because a lot of people know a little bit how to do vibrato, or they're trying but they're not really getting the sound they desire. So I hope this video is going to be useful to you. The first most common mistake in vibrato is an irregular tempo. Some people think they don't do vibrato right, but actually they're doing the right movement, but they don't do it in the right tempo, or it's irregular. I'll show you what I mean. If you make exactly the right movement, but you are doing it too slow, it sounds like this. And if you make the right movement and you're doing it irregular, it sounds like this. And then if you do it in the right tempo and regular, then you suddenly have this. So if this is the problem you have with your vibrato, then practice with the metronome and see if you can really get it regular vibrato. Start with around 4 vibrato motions a beat at 60 or 80 beats per minute. Just see what you're comfortable with, what you can do in a regular way, and then speed it up. The second common mistake in vibrato is that you move in the wrong direction. So your movement can be right, but you get the vibrato sound because you roll your fingertip over the string in the direction of the string length. So what you're actually doing with pitch is that you're making it higher and lower. That's what vibrato is. And if you do this movement sideways, for example, then it can look good to you perhaps, but there's no effect because you're not shortening and lengthening the string. So if this is your problem, then really analyze your vibrato movement and practice it slowly. And really do it in the direction of the string length. Doing it like I do now with my violin on my lap and just practicing like this so you can see it and your arm is in a more natural position perhaps than if you're playing the violin. That's a good way to practice this. The third common mistake in vibrato is that you only use finger or wrist or arm, and some people search for what is the best, but the best thing you can do is to use all 3 and use them in a natural way. So in higher positions you might use more of your arm, and then I mean this is of course an enlarged movement just to show you what I mean. And in lower positions you can do it with your wrist, well, also in higher positions. And of course your finger always needs to be flexible, so we always have kind of a finger vibrato. Maybe the movement isn't initiated by your finger, but if your finger isn't flexible, then you're not shortening and lengthening the string and not getting the vibrato sound. So if your left hand fingers are stiff, then it's really hard to get a good vibrato despite of doing all the right things with your arm and wrist. The fourth common mistake in vibrato is to slide over the string. What you want to do in vibrato is that your finger stays on the same spot, so the same pitch, and you roll over your fingertip. Then you get the best sound. If you slide, then it's very uncontrolled and most of the times too wide and too much out of tune. You get something like this. So yeah, it sounds a little bit drunk. Then the fifth most common mistake in vibrato is that you only have a vertical motion. And what I mean by that is that you do maybe too much with your finger, so that you're lifting up your finger and putting it down. And then you do get a little bit of vibrato, but you don't get that lush vibrato that you might sometimes want. And of course, you know, it's good to expand your sound palette a bit and to be able to do different kinds of vibrato. So if you only do this vertical motion, then try to get your arm and wrist more in motion and also roll more over the fingertip if you want a different sound than you have now. By the way, this vertical motion with your fingertip is a very good way to practice vibrato, because it's a movement that is part of vibrato, but it's just not all of it. So, well, let me know in the comments below if you recognize one or perhaps more of these mistakes, and don't worry because you can correct them, of course. I'm curious to read what you recognize and if the tips from this video were useful to you. Now, this is of course a short video and I'd love to teach you more about vibrato for free in my mini masterclass Learn a Beautiful Vibrato on the Violin. And you can apply for that masterclass at violinlounge.com/vibrato. I hope to see you there. Maybe leave a comment if you're going to do that masterclass, because I'd love to hear about your results from that. You'll learn the 4 steps to a beautiful vibrato, and I'm sure it will be useful to you. So if you're interested, then check it out. And if not, then not. That's okay too. I hope to see you in another video lesson. Bye bye!